and today I want to talk to you about subagents. And the title here, Subagents and the Multiplication of Context Windows, sounds super complicated, but it's really not. I want to leave you with one idea, maybe one and a half. And I can start by saying that if you have heard about subagents, this is not going to be a talk in which I say they're the solution to all of the problems, but I do think they're pretty interesting. And they're pretty interesting because they change our relationship to this, which is the context window. I think most of you here know what a context window is, right? Short recap is, if you talk to a large language model, their basic job is to complete text. So you send up a bunch of text and you want it to complete the text either by adding a new message or by completing the line or a sentence or whatever. And all of the text you send up and all of the stuff you get back down from the model has to fit in the context window. But you think of the context window as something abstract, like this is where the text goes and stuff comes out. But when you work with agents, the context window is actually where everything ends up. Every user message that you send, every assistant message that comes back from the model, every tool call and every tool call result, right? So if you look at this in practice, I can show you real quick. If I say have this app open here, which is like a funny, maybe not funny, but it's a toy app, and I can say, can you make this look funnier, or something like this, right? And what's happening now is the agent says, I'll need to see what you're referring to first, and it reads, it makes a tool call, right? And then it says like, let's say here, the landing page or the main page. It sends back messages, I send back a message, and then it makes a tool call. And you can see in the bottom right, I don't know if you can see it actually, but I hope you can see it. It says 7%, now it jumped up to 11%. And it says we're using 18K tokens out of the 168K tokens available to us. Because we're using Sonnet 4 right now in AMP, and we have a 200K context window, 32K are reserved for the output, so we have 168K tokens available. And the more tool calls you see here, the more the context window fills up, okay? That's the basic. That's one of the ideas I want to leave you with, right? Because if we go back to the slides, this is actually that stuff that shows up in the context window. So up here it says what I wrote, a version of it. Can you make this app look a little bit more fun? And then the assistant says like, yeah, I'll help you make this look more fun. And it sends 3 tool calls down, right? Now AMP is ready. This is our, the agent is ready sound. So here it made it funnier. But the tool calls end up in the context window. The results end up in the context window. And the problem is sometimes the agent goes off the tracks, right? And it looks at a bunch of files and it looks at a bunch of stuff. And what ends up happening is maybe we see this bad message down here where it says context window limit reached. Because the agent looked at too many files, it read a bunch of super long files or ran bash commands that produce a lot of output, you run out of tokens. Or even worse, you end up with this, you know, where you say, oh no, and it says, you're absolutely right, I have to fix this. But the point is, the context window is precious, right? And it can fill up with garbage.